Nelson grew up in a family where the favoritism toward his brother Tyson was clear. His parents openly preferred Tyson, leaving Nelson feeling hurt and neglected. He couldn't understand why his parents loved his brother more, constantly wondering what he had done to deserve such treatment. As Nelson grew older, he decided to join the military, hoping to escape the painful reality of his family's favoritism. He sought to prove himself and find a sense of worth. Shortly after joining, a war broke out in his country, and his parents and brother fled to safety, leaving Nelson alone to face the battlefield. After 6 years in the army, Nelson was injured when a bullet shattered the bones in his arm. He was discharged from the military and decided to return home after receiving an invitation from his parents. Nelson hoped that the war and his long absence had changed their feelings toward him. Upon his return, he found that Tyson had married and had a daughter. Initially, his family welcomed him warmly and celebrated his return. However, it didn't take long for Nelson to realize that nothing had changed. The favoritism remained, and he still felt like the less important son. His parents suggested he marry, and Nelson agreed. But when he refused to marry the girl they had chosen for him due to the long distance between them, they stopped talking to him for a while. Soon after, Nelson married a woman named Maria who lived nearby. At first, Nelson and Maria had to live with his parents, but his mother constantly complained about Maria, urging them to move out and live on their own. During the COVID-19 pandemic, Nelson lost his job and began to feel like a burden to his family. Determined to regain his independence, he started looking for a house of his own. Eventually, he found a place and moved out. But instead of supporting his decision, his parents distanced themselves from him, despite him consulting them before moving out. After settling into their new home, Maria gave birth to a beautiful baby boy they named Mike. Everyone adored Mike, except for his paternal grandparents. On the other hand, Mike's maternal grandparents adored him and showered him with love. Whenever Maria visited her parents, they would drop everything to spend time with Mike, even though he was their daughter's child, not their son's. Meanwhile, Nelson's parents showed no such affection. In fact, Nelson's mother hardly paid attention to Mike, but she treated her other grandson, Sam, Tyson's son, with love and care. Once again, Nelson had to relocate for a short time, moving back in with his parents until he found a new home. During this period, his mother seemed irritated by their presence. At times, Nelson questioned if she was truly his mother due to her cold attitude. But, unfortunately, she was. After a week, Nelson found a new place and moved out with his family. Not long after, Maria gave birth to another son, whom they named Michael. Like his brother, Michael was loved by everyone, except for Nelson's parents. The clear discrimination from Nelson's parents toward Mike and Michael persisted. While they showered love and attention on Sam, Tyson's son, they ignored Nelson's children. Nelson's mother often said to Sam in front of Nelson and Maria, "You are our pride," making it clear that Sam was the favored grandchild. As time passed, nothing changed. Maria frequently took her sons to visit her parents, where they were spoiled and loved. But Nelson's parents showed no affection toward Mike or Michael. Nelson lived with the pain of neglect and unfairness from his parents his entire life. Despite his efforts to win their love and approval, the favoritism toward Tyson and his children never faded. In the end, Nelson realized that the injustice he had faced was a constant part of his life, and no matter how hard he tried, he couldn't change his parents' feelings. This true story highlights the damaging effects of family favoritism and how it can destroy relationships. Injustice only brings misery, and no one should ever allow themselves to be an oppressor, for it leads to a life of being outcast and unloved.